You telling a story with that?
And we are live.
Hello, welcome back to the Paulo Media Podcast. Here with me today is Bree and Serenity. We also have Daryl Moss from the City team.
The city team.
Who?
The City team.
The city? What city?
Springfield.
Cut. Let's start again. Oh Jesus! I don't work for the city.
What you mean? I thought you worked for the
He's
mayor.
part-
The board of no. I left there.
Oh.
Board of trustees. Trustees.
He's in charge of the podcast.
We're starting over.
Yeah.
We're starting over.
Okay. You want to try it?
Yo, Serenity, come on, you got this.
This is all going in the bloopers.
Oh my God, can we please do that?
Yes.
Yeah, we have
I
to.
want. Oh my
Right.
God. Have we just like a bloopers video put together for us for like the end of the school year to watch through?
Yeah.
That's
I'm gonna have to show up that day.
You ready?
I can't do
You gonna
that.
try it again?
Am I gonna try it? Yeah, sure.
We're already live.
Are we ready?
Yes.
All right, it's all right. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Paulo Media Podcast. Today's topic is repping our flag. Here with me today, Brianna, Serenity, Demos. He's in charge of the podcast.
You want to introduce yourself?
My name is Anthony. Viewers disclaimer. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed during this podcast belong solely to the student participants and not necessarily to the staff, administration, and student populace at the Paulo Freire Social Justice Charter School. You said that.
I know.
Today, we're talking about why the flag's important, whether it be the American flag or your own ethnic flag.
You looking at me? Am I supposed to read?
I'm looking at all three of you guys. Oh God. We have to start over. Okay.
We just had it. I'm waiting for y'all to like chime
Once
in.
you do the intro, like you go through the intro like you normally do.
Yep.
Then you're gonna read the disclaimer. Then you say, okay, again, today's topic is repping your flag.
Okay.
All right. Does repping my ethnic flag make me any less American? That's the basic gist of the conversation.
I can read the thing.
You're gonna read the
And then
disclaimer?
You're gonna say, you know what? To start this, I'm gonna read.
We're gonna read the origin
this.
of flags.
Sorry, read this. Y'all got the intro.
No, you got it.
Okay.
You always get it right. Come on, man. This just all goes in the
Take
blooper
three.
reel.
Take
Take 500.
Take 3.
20,000. Go.
action.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the media podcast team, the Paulo Media Podcast team. Sorry. Today's topic: we are repping our flag, whether it be the American flag or our own ethnic flag. Disclaimer.
You're reading the
We need to get it together.
disclaimer. You're doing the
Bro.
disclaimer.
What did you say she was?
I'm doing the
The
reading of the
history of
origin.
the-
Oh, okay, my fault.
Oh my God. Hey, we're making a great little movie for us to watch.
We're making- Blooper reel.
Okay, cool, calm, and collected.
I could really say that.
CCC.
Okay, also don't forget to introduce yourself.
I haven't even introduced y'all yet.
Okay, take
Put
4.
my disclaimer away.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Take 4. Action. This is so good.
You're supposed to be retiring in 2 years.
We're gonna make this the best 2 years of your life.
They are. I'm not gonna be
Jesus.
here. I'm definitely not coming back next year.
Take 4.
Yeah.
5.
Whatever.
If there's 5,
5. You guys go.
Take 5.
hello and welcome back to the Paulo Team's Media Podcast. Here with me today is Brianna, and serenity. And we also have Daryl Moss here with us today. Disclaimer: the views, thoughts, and opinions during this podcast belong solely to the student participants and not necessarily to the staff, administration, and student populace here at Paulo Freire Social Justice Charter School. Today's topic, we are going to be talking about whether or not repping your flag, like your ethnic flag, is against being American.
And to start off, we're just going to read a little bit about like the history of flags. The origins of flags lies in ancient history. Originally, they may have been simply decorative streamers or perhaps ceremonial images. They were superior to many other
Emblems.
emblems, cheap and simple to make easy to carry and display, and attracting attention from their lifelike movement in the wind. Flags come to symbolize variously leaders, communities, gods, merchants, and craft guilds, ships, and towns. A flag often gained the same respect as was accorded to the person or thing that it represents. In battle, the loss of a flag was a severe blow. The capture of the opponent's flag might have been a turning point in a battle. Flags often bore religious symbols and were used in religious as well as state occasions.
Real quick, what do you guys think about that?
Which part?
The second one, where flags, they could represent anything. They could represent your leader, country, your town, even. Either that, just a crew that you have together.
I feel like I don't really know. I feel like thinking of it for like back when like flags could have first started like coming around and stuff. Like it kind of like makes sense that it could have been represented like gods or like stuff. A flag represents an idea or an ideal. It is neither a mere piece of decoration nor an object to be honored for itself. It is honored for what it represents. Many flags are held in high esteem for their history, for the sacrifices made by the people, for the qualities of which the country and people stand.
There we go. Okay. With that being said, does repping your ethnic or racial flag make you any less American? On my keychain at my house, I have a flag waving, waves on a regular basis. It's red, black, and green, represents the black community.
Mm-hmm.
Red for the blood, black for the people, green for the grass. Red represents the sacrifice of the people. Black represents the people. It represents green is the land we lost in Africa. So a lot of us, we rep our flag because it stands for something. It's all about the sacrifice, the sojourn, everything we went to get to this space and place and time. So there are people who have concerns when we raise that flag. It's kind of like, well, why do you raise that flag? We're all American. What does that make me any less American? In the Latino community, we see the flags, the huge Puerto Rican parade they have through the middle of Springfield, which is like phenomenal. But you see the flag everywhere. And then I often hear people, when I worked at City Hall, people are like, okay, well, why did they raise that flag? Where's the American flag? Is it an American flag if we're in American territory, correct? I don't know. So I'm just opening the door. You guys talk about it. How important is it for folks to raise a flag that represents them, their people, and their ideals? How important is it to you guys?
So to me, repping the flag is pretty much just repping where you come from.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter whether it's another country, another place. Everybody has either come to America or was born in America for a reason. But I don't see repping the flag as being un-American. Whether you're Hispanic, Black, Asian, Chinese, we're all in the same spot. We all have different flags. We can't really. So, lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
You're on a really good roll, actually.
I know. So where I'm going with this basically is I see the American flag as a symbol of everybody coming together, but everybody has a different flag to rep. Like me, Puerto Rican flag. I'm sorry, which flag is that?
The bandera is an African American flag, or the black flag.
Daryl has his African American flag. I'm sorry, I never really asked. What, Puerto Rican?
I got the Puerto Rican, Italian, and Jamaican flag.
See, even in the same household, there's different flags.
Mhm.
How do you guys feel about it?
I feel like not repping the American flag, but repping different ones is more about acknowledging where people before you came from, like where your family came from before you. And like for me, my grandparents, they do both. Mainly the Puerto Rican one because they were born and raised there. But outside in our front yard, it's their Puerto Rican flag with where, like, with the part of Puerto Rico that they came from with their names. But on the other side, sometimes they switch it out. It'll be the American flag or just random flags that about what season we're in and stuff. So I don't know. I don't think it makes them any less American because they still live in America.
Right. Like, my grandma and her siblings, they're all from Italy. They were born and raised in Italy, and they came here when they were a little older. And at where my grandma is, she has in the kitchen, they have this little like plaque up, and it has the Italian flag in it and the name of the town that they're from. And I honestly think when I go into people's homes, either whether it's like my own family members, friends, or like just other people around me, and like I see their own like ethnic flag in it, I feel like it's like I don't know how to describe it. Like it's like cool to like see like where everyone like could be from, and like I just feel like it's also like I don't know if I'd say like empowering.
Yeah.
But like it's like yeah, so like it's empowering to see people like oh yeah, like although like we may be in like a country that could like be discriminating against us, like we're not gonna let them like take that part away from us.
Okay.
Man, I know at graduation, I'm repping my flag. I'm
Why?
gonna walk up on the stage with a Puerto Rican flag
Why?
to show my people that I made it.
It's like we're proud of where we're from.
Okay. But you were born here, so are you from there?
Am I from Puerto Rico?
Yeah, I'm just playing devil's
Okay.
advocate.
No.
Okay.
So me,
so
I was.
how can you be proud of a place you've never been to?
I'm not
Or
proud.
you weren't born and raised there. And would the people in Puerto Rico see you as one of them?
So when it comes down to me in Puerto Rico, unfortunately, I've never been. I'm not born there. I don't know. I don't know Spanish.
Just say I haven't been there yet.
I've never been there yet. And to me, whenever I rep the flag, it's not like repping the place. It's repping the sacrifices that either both my family and people in my race have made. Because I recently, like just last year, I found out everything that happened, like with Christopher Columbus, as soon as he found like the Taino Indians. And I was surprised. I was honestly shocked. Do you guys know what happened?
A little bit, but like not really.
So he showed up, robbed all of our spices, right? And back then, spices were seen as gold because they were so rare. They didn't have price rights. They couldn't just go to the supermarket, grab some seasonings and leave. But also, he demanded gold from us, and whenever we didn't give him enough, cut off the fingers. And so, and like Daryl just told me before this, I just honestly just found out 90% of us were gone. And so whenever I rep my flag, I rep it for the people who couldn't.
I was going to say, like, I feel like when, like, repping, like, anything, whether it's, like, something that just has, like, my flag colors, like I said, I have 3 different ethnic flags. The Jamaican flag, Italian flag, and Puerto Rican flag. And like I said, like, I've never been, like, to any 3 of those 3 countries yet. And I really do hope to, because I feel like it's just, like, they're all, like, beautiful places that, like, I'd love to see. But I feel like it's more of, like, representing, like, culture and, like, the traditions and stuff that, like, come from even though like I may not have been, I've never been there like personally, but like with like my grandma and like her siblings, like when all like the traditions, whether it's like the food, the games, the, like music, anything, like I feel like it just brings more of me like back to myself, and I feel like it's part of like knowing like your identity.
I feel like like you asked him like about like why he reps it.
Mhm.
I feel like it's more of like celebrating the fact that someone from our families were able to come out to America and give us a better chance of like literally everything.
Okay.
So that's just what.
So for most of y'all, the American flag is entwined with your ethnic flags or your family's place of origin, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So why do so many people have problems with the fact that other people raise their flags? I mean, typically it's in reference to people of color, because my boss, well, former boss, was from Italy, his family, so the Italian flag was major for him. During St. Patrick's Day, you see the Irish flag everywhere. Matter of fact, people call themselves honorary Irishmen on St. Patrick's Day, right?
Mhm.
So why is it when certain other groups raise their flag, rep their flag, and part of their flag, why is the patriotism questioned? Do you guys have any idea? Or is that just in my head or
So what I think
don't know.
about that subject is there's a lot more of one group more than another,
Mhm.
and so maybe one group is feeling like outclassed by the other.
Explain that? I don't know what that means.
So where I'm trying to go with this is, like you say on the Irish Day parade, they say
Mhm.
that everybody's Irish,
Yep.
no matter what you are, and so I think that's them trying to bring everyone together,
Okay.
and hopefully everybody reps the same flag. But I feel like with other people repping another flag,
Mhm.
they see it as like disrespect,
Okay.
or they might see it as disrespect.
Okay. No, you don't have to, you don't need me. You don't need me for
You get what I'm,
validation.
you get what
No,
I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. Good point. They should be responding to you.
I know.
I'm just here. I'm just throwing out questions to help you guys guide
Trying
you
to
guys
process,
in the process.
everything what
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
So let me ask you. You say your family puts out the American flag sometimes. Do you guys ever walk around like just hanging? Do you guys hang the American flag up anywhere? Do you, like get shirts that's like I'm a proud American?
I don't have any.
Where does American patriotism rank in your your list of priorities or in your hierarchy?
Paying taxes? That's how.
Okay.
That's how I help out. Pay my taxes.
Now you say help out. It's like, are you proud of the fact that you're American? And would you ever walk around and put an American flag decal on your car? Or I'm just a question. Yes.
Okay, so as a mixed, someone who is mixed, and as well as you guys,
You are like the future of America, literally, huh? She said, I got some Puerto Rican in there.
Mhm.
I got some
Italian.
Italian in there.
Some
I got some
Jamaican.
Jamaican up in there. Okay.
Like Obama.
And
I know, right?
oh my god, what was I gonna say?
You said, as someone who's mixed.
Yeah. Okay. So as someone who's mixed, like I feel like with representing all, because I feel like okay, so like as when it comes to like representing like being American or like living in America or whatever, I feel like that like falls towards like the bottom comparing to representing other ethnic groups because of the fact that like America wasn't like I wouldn't represent American flag. I'd go and represent like the Black community's flag, like you said. Like I wouldn't because like I know the struggles that like people of color, like people like my own ancestors like had faced, but like Americans, as in more or less white Americans, white people, like they never had to like really. They just took what they wanted. They got what they wanted. They didn't have to struggle to get through as to where any other like ethnic group, Puerto Ricans, Jamaicans, maybe even like Italians, they had to go through stuff to kind of get to where they wanted to be. They had stuff taken from them. They had family members taken them. They lost people. While the Americans are pretty much Americans were more or less the ones taking it from them.
Okay. That's fair. That's honest. I like that.
How you feel about it, Sunrise?
I wouldn't really go around. My mom, like every time I ask my mom about like me, like what am I? She always says like American, Puerto Rican, obviously. But when someone else asks me, I'm just like Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
But it's because like sitting here and learning about like everything that Americans have done is just like why would I want to say
It's kind of like I wouldn't want to like represent myself with like all the bad things that they've done. I'd rather represent myself with like all of like the outcomes and like the overpowering and stuff and like the struggle that like we've gotten through.
Okay.
And there's a lot of bad things that people like. There's a lot of bad stipulations with being an American. Like in another country, you say you're American, they immediately
Mhm.
think of like bad stuff that's happening.
So if you went to another country, say you went to visit Germany.
Yep.
And they were like, you guys on a school trip. They're like, hey, where are you guys from? What do you tell them?
America,
Okay. When they say, hey, what are you guys?
Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican.
So you're in Germany and you say we're Puerto Rican.
Yep.
You wouldn't say, oh, we're American?
No.
If you're in a
Actually,
foreign
no.
country? Really?
I feel like I'd say I'm like, oh, like we're coming from America, but like ourselves, like well, like I'd probably like be like I just explained to you guys, like, oh, like I'm mixed. Like, oh, like I'm Puerto Rican, Black, I'm Italian, Jamaican. Like
I might lie and just tell them I'm
necessarily-
German.
Wow.
I come from
They'll
the
be
far
like,
side.
Way
back
all the way
there.
back
They're gonna look at me and be like, "There's no way you're from here."
I would love to have this same conversation when you guys get a little older. You go off to college and you go on spring break in another country,
I'm going to college next
just to
year.
see if your response will still be the same in terms of what you tell people you are when you go to another country. That'd be interesting. Here in the States, I'm like, yo, what are you? I'm black.
I'm
Well, what does that
black.
mean? I'm African American. Why do you have the hyphen? Because I'm an African descendant of Africans who live in America. But I found myself when I'm in another country, they're like, normally it's like the islands. Like, where you from? What are you? It's like, I'm American, which is really weird because that cultural duality. And the same thing applies to the flag. When you rock that, you know that you're Puerto Rican. You're probably Puerto Rican, and you got that flag. But say a war breaks out and you join the military.
Yep.
Are you fighting for a Puerto Rican army?
No.
What army are you fighting for?
You're American.
Somebody invades America. If they invade the United States, you go, well, let me get back to Puerto Rico to protect that. And what do you say? We need to protect what?
The States.
United States. That's when, is that the only time? I mean, does it take a national tragedy for us to see our national flag?
No.
Like, how do you guys see that?
What, national tragedy?
Yeah. Does
What,
it take
like
a
9/11?
national tragedy or a national Olympics? Who do you cheer for?
No one. I don't watch the Olympics.
You don't watch basketball, boxing? You watch boxing. No?
I watch boxing, anime. There's a difference. I'm watching drawings fight. I'm watching drawings fight like they're real people, and I get hyped from it. So they be throwing haymakers.
Do you guys watch the Olympics? Not at all.
I mean, like, I'll maybe like see like save like someone else is like watching it like in my house and be like, oh, like watch it for a few seconds, maybe a few minutes, but like it's not like, oh, let's go watch the Olympics. Like,
You guys want to watch the Olympics?
With the boxing and the basketball, the gymnastics.
I watch MMA matches, like real life
But
MMA
that's
matches.
not the Olympics. That has
Yeah,
nothing to
no.
do with nationalism.
What you mean, bro? They got world
That's the-
champions.
Okay.
You know Josh Otusanya?
What
just
flag
said
does
Josh
he, what flag
Sawyer.
does he represent?
You just
I
said
believe
Josh
he represents the Jamaican flag. Let me double check.
Nigerian.
Nigerian, yep. So you do know him.
Nigerian, yeah. And he comes in, although he was born in Jersey, he walks in wrapped around the Nigerian flag. So, yeah, I think I know you.
No, this is the wrong guy.
So, but anyways, it's kind of like, does it make you, what is patriotism? When we talk about the flag, let's go back to that page over here. I guess just to help other people understand as they watch this podcast.
Sorry.
Sometimes-
Israel
sometimes I be forgetting
Adesanya.
that people watch things.
Joe, that was calling me.
Yeah.
All right, so his
So-
name is Israel Adesanya. My fault. Sorry, I got to
Where's he
delete.
from? Oh, but anyway, put that away, man. It has nothing to do with the copy. Okay. It's like, whoever wrote this, I appreciate it. New Zealand. Okay.
No problem, man.
A flag represents an idea or an ideal. It's neither a mere piece of decoration nor an object to be honored for itself. It's honored for what it represents, meaning flags are held in high esteem for their history. Where is that? Oh, and I agree with you guys. It really has a lot to do with your people's history and the sacrifices made by them. So it's kind of like, it's interesting when you watch television, everybody, if you don't put that away,
I can't.
when you watch television, whose history do you see represented? When you watch those old Viking movies, or you watch movies like, I don't know, these movies from my time, 300. I don't know what you guys watch now. What type of movies do you guys watch?
I just seen Rampage yesterday.
Is that anime?
You know what that movie is?
With The
No.
Rock?
Anime?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
no,
it's
it's not
The
anime.
Rock, and he has like this big giant gorilla.
So it's The Rock, right? And the story behind it is
Just edit it out.
the story behind it is he was part of special forces, but he switched and became part of an anti-poaching team, right? And so his team had found some poachers.
What does that have to do with repping the flag?
You asked what kind of movies I
No,
watch.
I don't want to hear about the movie. I'm just saying, from a cultural perspective, when you watch movies, how often you see movies that reflect you, who you are? When you talk about the flag and the idea behind the flag, in popular culture, how often do you see major media outlets portraying your people's culture, history, heritage, all that stuff, the struggle?
I
That's
can't.
what I'm asking.
I can't watch movies about my culture. They're all in Spanish.
Anthony.
I don't understand that.
Okay, so you watch TV, you watch television stations from Puerto Rico.
I can't understand them.
Do they have television stations specifically, airing straight from Puerto Rico?
Probably.
I feel like
probably
we
not.
have, we
do.
have.
Which one was that?
The telenovelas.
I was going to say telenovelas.
Is that Puerto Rico?
It could be.
It's in Spanish,
It's
Google that.
They're his. They're,
They speak Spanish, but there are a large number of countries in the Western Hemisphere where people speak Spanish.
Yeah.
So, but do you watch like the heroic struggles when you talk about rebellion in Puerto Rico back when Spain was in control? When you talk about for those who have West African ancestry on the island of Puerto Rico, do they talk about those struggles? People who fought for their freedom and fought to get off of plantations and fought to be independent. When you talk about the European land grab in Puerto Rico, do you talk about the people who were originally from there and how they struggled to survive? When you talk about the Tainos and the Arawaks and the Caribs in that island, do you ever see movies about their struggle?
No.
I was because you asked me to look up like.
No, it's okay.
So it says in there a television.
Want me to read it?
Yeah,
All right. A television soap opera. You didn't know that?
But I didn't know if it started
Well,
there.
based
But it
out
says
of-
in Latin America.
Right.
In
I was
Latin
about to say.
America, a television soap opera.
Isn't that Southern
most-
America?
Some of them from
Latin
there,
America?
Nah. Yeah,
Latin
but
America.
Puerto Rico's in the Caribbean.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
Geographically, it's like different settings.
Gotcha.
The commonality of the language.
Don't really understand.
That's why I'm like, but you're from Puerto Rico. So wouldn't you want to, when you watch shows growing up, you watch Cinderella, you watch, what are some of the cartoons you guys watched?
Princess and the Frog.
Wildcrats.
I can tell you 15. Okay. All right.
I seen
It's a
Wildcrats.
And think about it. In my
Elmo.
lifetime, that's really one of the first animated movies I've seen where they actually portrayed a black princess, and she wasn't really a black princess.
She was a princess.
To her
the end.
dad, to her father, she was a princess.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But she was really just a working class girl who worked 3 jobs tirelessly. She had to kiss a frog. Think about the storyline. She had to kiss a frog in order to become
A princess.
a princess and go through all the struggles, survival, work her way up.
Whereas like where we can take like Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, they're just like kissed and they're like, I'm a
They're in.
princess.
No, Cinderella came from the ground up. I don't know
No,
what
she
you're
didn't.
talking
Her father was wealthy,
Yeah.
married the
Married.
stepmother. The stepmother still lived like a baroness.
Yeah.
And she lived like a pauper inside of her dad. Her dad passed away, transitioned,
Yeah.
and she lived in the house, and it was the stepmother who oppressed her. Right? When you talk about the Princess and the Frog, Tiana, I think her name. Tiana, on the other hand, was just, obviously she was
She came from the ground up.
the great grandchild of slaves or great great grandchild of slaves. His dad worked a working class job in the mines, came home tired, worked tirelessly all day long, and she had to struggle. When she raised enough money to get her own place, the white bankers, pulled that from underneath her. So talks about struggle, but look at everybody else. They're what's the one with the red hair, the wild one?
Meredith.
Yeah.
Murder.
So her father was a king. Think about it. Most of these stories, the father princess was either a king, the daughter, well, basically a legit princess.
Mhm.
So Frozen, their parents were what? The king and queen, right?
Yeah.
So, but those are people who lived over in Europe. So when you talk about, they pushed their cultural myths, their cultural norms for that period of time, and we watch it and we have to accept it. It's like a square peg going in a circle. But when you rep your flag, it kind of gives you an opportunity to carry that history without even knowing all of it, because you guys obviously don't know the comprehensive, complete history of Puerto Rico,
Unfortunately not.
or in your case, Jamaica, Italy, and Puerto Rico. So it's like, how do you go about, what other ways can you actually rep your culture or rep who you are outside of your flag?
I was about to get into that. I'm like just like traditions, whether that's like foods, clothings,
Music.
like like music, certain
Okay.
like celebrations,
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Okay, let's start with music. How do you
Despacito doesn't represent
how do
Puerto
you
Rican people.
represent your history, your heritage, and that stuff through music?
Blast it as loud as you can.
Last what?
Your music.
So what do you guys listen to? What type of music do you listen to?
I listen to trap metal.
Trap metal. What does that have to do with Puerto Rico?
Nothing.
Not a darn thing. So you're not repping to do music, and there's nothing wrong with it. But how about you? What do you listen to?
A lot of different stuff.
Okay, what do you primarily listen? When you get home, you ready? You just want to vibe out. You're in your room chilling.
R&B.
You listen to R&B. What does that have to do with Puerto Rico? What do you listen to?
I can do like R&B. I'll do hip hop. I'll do
Okay.
like Spanish music.
Okay.
I'll be in my room jamming
You guys-
to
90s
Spanish
hip-hop?
music.
Do you guys?
Like
But
different
that's not really representative. 80s hip hop, maybe 90s halfway. Not really representative of Black history and culture, or Latino history and culture. Because we got a number of Latinos. We got Fat Joe, Big Pun. We have cats who are classics. There's a whole bunch of them. But those are old white men who run the entertainment industry. They own mostly all the labels. They own the distribution. So if you come out with an album, you want to reflect, what it's like to be part Italian, Puerto Rican, and Jamaican. And they go, yeah, we don't want that. We want you to be more like Nicki Minaj.
I listen to Big Pun. He represents Puerto Ricans through and through.
Yeah, that's why.
I know. I was connecting to it. Right?
So I guess my thing is, how do we represent our culture? Big Pun, even Fat Joe, they make sure it's there. There's a couple of groups I can't name them right now, but quite a few of them do. But they don't get the radio play so that you can hear it on a daily basis. So the bottom line is, people push their projections of who you are culturally through mainstream outlets, news, TV shows, movies, the music industry. But outside of being able to rep your flag, how else do you tell the world who you are proudly? That's a question. It's not a statement. Jimmy, come on, you guys are brilliant scholars.
Yes. You talk a lot sometimes, and I gotta process everything you said to get down to the
Said I
simple
talk.
question.
You do.
Because you guys are like this.
He's just like,
If I don't talk, there's silence.
So I'm sorry, real quick. Can you repeat your last question?
No. I
So
talk too
how
much.
else can you,
How else can I represent my people or my
Now,
flag?
aside from repping your flag? And we already went over music. So aside from music, and some examples I gave was like food,
Yeah,
I
the
said
food
traditional
we eat.
clothing, food. I feel
You know-
like I am the
You know that
least
rice,
when it
beans,
comes
and
to
chicken
food.
hits different.
Mhm.
Okay, explain the food. How is that repping culturally?
So culturally, people always have something different about their food.
Mhm.
Whenever you think about like Hispanic food, what do you think about?
I don't know. Which is what you talking about from Peru? You talking about
When you
Mexico,
think
Rican.
when you
Venezuela,
think Puerto Rican
Rico?
food,
Puerto Rican.
what do you think about?
I think of Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I think of a beautiful island.
Food.
I think of
Food wise, bro.
Food-wise.
Food,
I don't know.
rice, beans,
I
and
would say
chicken.
rice and beans.
Yeah,
Frijoles,
see?
pork, pernil.
Yeah, but that's no different. But that doesn't stand out as a
Yeah,
Puerto Rican
no.
dish. I grew up on rice, and I'm not Puerto Rican. My grandparents are from Antigua. All they ate was rice and peas.
You ever had flan?
What is flan?
You don't know what flan is?
I don't know. Tell me what it is.
Flan is like rice pudding with caramel on top.
Yeah, we've had that. We just call it rice pudding.
Yeah.
See, sometimes if you get, it's like it's crazy. My Jamaican friends and I'm like, yo, we grew up on pigeon peas and rice. Oh, they had a different name for it. Trinis call it something else. I mean, so people call it different things. Kind of find out it's actually a Ghanaian dish that they carried with them on the boat. So it's kind of like, tell me something that is uniquely Puerto Rican. That you talk about the history and the heritage, not poverty food that we eat. We eat a lot of pork because pork was the cheapest thing to eat. We eat the worst parts of the pig because it was cheap. So give me something that is unique to your peoples.
You know any?
I'm trying to think right now.
Me too.
What do you
Listen,
eat?
I got three
Name
different
everything
countries to
you
think
eat.
of. Give me time.
Don't worry. Listen, you got Italy. That's easy. They got pizza.
You can get pizza anywhere.
I know, but it originated from Italy.
Did it?
I think so. That's what I've been told.
I don't know. So if I ask a question, it don't mean I have the answer.
Like pasta we have. Oh my god, what is it called? I like hated it when my grandma had me try it. I think it's called Pomenta or something like that. And it's kind of like, think of it kind of like, I don't know exactly what she uses to make it, but it's kind of like grits. it's kind of like grits, but it's not exactly grits. It's kind of more like mushy
Like
and
a
like
porridge.
grainy,
Talking
kind
about
of.
hot
And then
cereal?
she puts like if you put like meat, we call it porchetta, but it's just like the meat. Put porchetta over it with some like pasta sauce. You can throw like whatever kind of like vegetables you want in there, whatever. But like it's she used to tell me all the time. She's like, "Oh yeah, like Nona used to make this for me like all the time when we were younger, da, 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 like when we were still in Italy." And I was like, personally, I don't like it. The texture thing, but like it was kind of like cool, like to see like
No, I feel you. Go
to
ahead.
see like the stuff for like my grandma to sit there.
Redo.
It's like cool to see like my grandma or like my aunts and my uncles like from Italy, like they like sit there and will make like the foods they grew up on for like me and my brother, like for my cousins and stuff. Although we may not like it.
It sounds. I'm sorry, sidebar. I want to go to Italy. I just want to eat the food. I just want to smell the food, and eat the food.
Or I don't know what it is. I'm not sure exactly like if it's like a like traditional like Italian soup.
Okay.
But like we usually like my family, we usually make it on like Easter, we'll make it on Thanksgiving, we'll make it on Christmas. And we call it bread soup. My grandma gets mad because it's not bread, but if you look at it, it looks like it's chunks of bread just thrown in soup. But it's like fried eggs. You like get the eggs and you put like you mix it with like cheese and then you kind of like I don't know if you like fry it all together,
Okay.
but something like that. And then like you cut it up and you throw in like chicken broth. And like it's like a soup and it's really good. And I'm like I said, I'm not exactly sure if it's like a traditional Italian soup, but it
Okay.
is like something like my Italian side of the family is always like making, and it's actually really good.
That sounds dope. See, that's the type of answer I need. That's the dope response. Give me son. How you celebrate who you are?
You know what mofongo is?
I was thinking about that.
That's what
I
I was just
do,
looking
but
at.
tell everybody. I'm familiar with it, but I'm not an expert. But go ahead.
So I literally just tried it not that long ago. No one has told me about it before. And whenever they would bring it up, my mom was like, "Oh, I hate it. I hate it." So the same banana that you make like totones with,
Mhm.
they use that and it's like crushed up and use the plantain chips like or pork rinds. They use that. My grandma put shrimp in it and meat in it too. And then it's just like she pats it into a ball and fries it. It's,
Sounds-
it's really good.
You know what totones are?
No, I don't.
It's like fried banana.
Yeah, so it's a different type. It's not like the fruit bananas that you eat, but it's
not-
kind
It's
of
a plantain.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You
not a
squish it.
plantain. Is not a banana.
I said it's like a fried banana.
I always thought it was a
Yeah.
banana.
Here's the deal. Sometimes the only thing different
Yeah.
is just the name based on where you're from.
Mhm.
Everybody calls it something new. Yeah, of course we island.
Now I know you've had coquito before. I know you have.
See, when you ask about something from like Puerto Rican dish or tradition, oh man, every Christmas season, it's automatic
it's
in my
kinda
house.
like-
It's
Yeah,
coquito.
see?
But I
and
feel
it's-
like coquito is kind of like I'm not exactly sure which country it comes from, but it's like our version of like eggnog.
Mhm.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, so like
And it's you guys shouldn't be drinking that. It's alcoholic.
And we're not drinking it. What
so
are you
we
talking
were drinking
about?
it. We were talking about it.
That's
Okay.
just something you hear all the time around
Yeah.
holidays.
We be having like
There's nothing like it. Highly recommend it. Okay. See, now that
for legal aged people.
for legal age people, yes, that's very clear. And there's non-alcoholic.
Wait, okay, because so I just wanted to get to like aside from like food and stuff, like personally, like I'm more around my Italian family members than like my other like Hispanic or Jamaican family members.
Okay.
So I'm more like used to like those type of traditions and cultures from Italy. So like I don't know like if not really sure if like more like Puerto Ricans have any like traditional like games or stuff, but like we have a game called Scopa
Okay.
and we play. We always play it like every holiday, and for at least for my family, the way that we all learned it is my great grandmother taught all of us how to play. And it's like I don't always remember how to play it, but they have like these game cards, and they have like some of them have like drums or like tambourines, or like there's like guys with like horses on them, and you got to kind of like match them up together. It's almost kind of like oh my god, what is it called? I don't remember the name of the game, but it's pretty much like, oh, like say if you have like a 3 and a 7, but there's like a 10 like in the thing, like you can take that and like it adds up to like your stuff. And I think it's like whoever has the most points at the end wins. And I also found it, we always used to kind of find it funny because like my great grandmother would always like, she'd be like, oh, like if she lost, she'd be like, you cheated. And we're like, you taught us how to play. But like that's like something like fun, like a card game. Like I said, it's called Scopa. And we like play it almost like every holiday, like when we're doing games and stuff. So like I'm not really sure if like Puerto Rican, more like involved Puerto Rican families have like games and stuff like that.
I was never introduced to any games like that. One thing I do remember is like around Christmas time, oh my god, I don't know how to say it. Basically parades
Okay.
that they would do, but they would pick one person's house and they'd all go there and singing Hispanic Christmas songs
Okay. That's
all
dope.
like all night.
We got Dominic the Donkey. My uncle keeps blaring that.
Help me, Anthony.
I don't know what that is.
Dominic the donkey.
It's a song. It's a Christmas song.
Dominic the donkey.
Dominic. It's
Never
always.
heard of it.
I'll play. Okay. I'll find it.
We're running out of time.
Okay, I'll play for you guys afterwards.
Okay.
But it's like an Italian Christmas song, and it's always funny because my uncle always comes in every
Your
Christmas.
mom.
Every time he comes, whoever, no matter whose house we're at, we always come in like blaring it, and it's so much fun. It's so funny.
That's dope. Okay. So, the point of even asking you guys the question is how do you rep, how do people get an opportunity to rep who they are in their culture? And I just think that type of stuff is just so important. Identity, self-identity is me talking a lot because I have to explain myself. I think cultural identity is probably one of the most important pieces of being an American. And, certain groups are asked to forget that. Other folks, their history, culture, heritage is pushed out into the mainstream to make sure that no one ever forgets that. So I think as students, it's one of the things I especially in a school like this, the social justice school, I would love to see you guys talking more about the importance of culture and identity. So when you talk about social justice, why it's important to really fight for social justice. Go.
I was gonna say we do things like that here, like celebrating
bro.
cultures and stuff. Like we back in September we had a Hispanic Heritage Month event, and at that event we had like traditional Hispanic foods. We had all the flags up from like all Latin America countries and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then we did one back in February for
Mhm.
Black History Month,
Mhm.
and we actually Sherry, one of the teachers here, her and her daughter are from Nigeria. So and they had brought in a bunch of like traditional Nigerian clothing, and they had us do like a little fashion show. It was actually really cool. And like for like a lot of the stuff, even like the food that they had here giving out, and like some of like the store, like they had guest speakers come in from like I forgot where he was from. But he was really cool, and he like played like traditional like African beats and stuff like that.
Okay.
So like I feel like in like with certain cultures and stuff, like we definitely do get to like experience and like see and learn more about here as like being able to like be here at the social justice school.
Okay. Yep. Maybe all the events. We get the reports at the board meetings.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, and just in terms of for student, as we talk about student dialogue, not so much just the events, because if it's not like Latino History Month or Black History Month, typically we don't really get into the events year round. So, but when we talk about social justice in terms of what it means, what that term means from a cultural perspective, and why we fight and who we actually fight for, who we're willing to fight vigilantly for, I think all that stuff is critical. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right.
What are you doing?
So,
I was very focused.
real quick. So, is it important to rep your flag?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, let me, as a closing note, tell me yes and why.
Yes, it's important to rep your flag because it's important to remember where your family comes from. Whether they started off here in America or whether they started off in another country, it's important to remember where you come from.
Okay.
Yes, I do think it is. And I just, like you said, like knowing where you came from. And I just feel like having a sense of kind of like identity is really important. And I was also going to add in, I feel like kind of like the best way to learn about like your own culture and your past is from your family members, your older family members that may have used, like came from like the country your families are from and stuff like that. I feel like that's one of like the best ways to learn about your cultural self.
Man, I'm screwed.
Absolutely.
My whole family's from Springfield.
No, they got here some kind of way. You just got to find the elders in your family and have those conversations.
It was like 20 years ago.
You never know. Might be somebody hanging around. Might be in their 90s. You can think about it. If you There's someone in your family in the 90s who's willing to talk to you about, what life was like when they were in their early teens or their adolescent years. They can recant stories from folks that they talked to from that time period who may have been in their 90s. So you don't have to go back 200 years. As she says, you talk to your grandparents. If you're blessed enough to have your great grandparents, have that conversation.
Because it may not have been like them directly coming from Puerto Rico, but they could have heard stories when they were like your age from those older family members.
I can't understand my grandfather though.
So make an effort. If I can go back in time, my dad was the grandson of a slave. So people say, well, what do you know about slavery? It had nothing to do with you. My father sat on the knee of his grandfather who endured slavery and whose parents, so those cultural values and traditions, the only way we can keep them going outside of just a flag. She hit the nail on the head. We need to have conversations with the older, with our elders and ask a million questions, because after you hit a point in life where it becomes too late, no one's around to tell the stories. So how do we tell our grandkids the stories? If we love where we're from, we love our people, it's important to carry those messages, because if we don't, they become forgotten. That's like a second death. Yes, and why?
Yes, because I think it's important to celebrate where your family came from. And like they said, it's important to remember everything that they did.
Okay. All right. Who's gonna do the closing?
Serenity.
Serenity. Yep. Everybody's gonna serenity.
I don't know.
Just sum up the conversation.
Those were our opinions about repping our flags.
Well, all right. Anybody want to add to that? that was impressive. Wow. You have a future in show business. I can't. Those. All right, y'all. This is Paulo, Freire Media Squad, and now you know why it's important for people to rep their flags, right?
Thank you to whoever may be seeing this, whether you're part of the school or not. And remember, these are just opinions from us.
And
They don't represent anyone.
Join us tomorrow for conspiracy theories.
I got prom tomorrow.